Hey, welcome to Upstate Eats. I'm your host, Katrina Lee.
And I'm David Hughes.
And we have, we're actually both calling in from our own homes because of COVID. So
That's right. This is Upstate Eats, the quarantine edition.
yes, who's stuck at home? It was so fun.
Yes, brought to you by Tony D's. They're doing takeout.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my dad has it, and my mother, and basically everyone in my family. So, of course, I have it.
Yep.
And, and your daughter just got it, so who knows what's going on.
Yeah, and I just actually, before I was going to come in, I was like, you know what, I got to thought of my daughter had it. And I was just making the recipe for the clam chowder from the Union Oyster House that we've determined through all of our years in New England is the best in the world. And in the middle of me tasting the clam chowder, I just lost all sense of taste. So I'm home quarantined too.
Yeah, I never really thought about how it must be for a chef to lose your sense of taste and smell,
Yeah. I'm like, why was I making stuff so spicy yesterday when I was doing Mexican food? Now I know. It's interesting though, because it just as an aside, losing your sense of taste and smell. Do you know that airline food has to be saltier and spicier because as when you go up in the air, you actually lose your sense of taste? I know it's pretty interesting.
That is interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we are now directly affected by COVID. I'm sitting here in front of my fire in my Chinese emperor chair, and are you holding your doggy and in fluffy pajamas?
No, I'm in pajamas because I didn't bother getting dressed today, but I'm more like pacing and wandering, touching stuff. Just more my speed.
Yeah, just in case nobody in the house has COVID. God. No, but we're laughing about it. But folks, this is a serious thing. We're in another spike. And, no matter what you think, we really have to take care of ourselves as a community. Go out there, get sanitizers, wash your hands, everything. It's kind of a...
they had special instructions with sheets, too. They say it's airborne and can stay on fabric and sheets for 72 hours. So keep washing your sheets. Don't be dirty.
Yeah, I
read this article. The average amount of time people change their sheets is 3 times a year. That's disgusting. I don't know if they were factoring boys in a college dorms, and that's what jumped it so high, or why. I was like, ew.
Well, I was just thinking about my son, if he even has sheets on his bed. You walk in and you're like, what the hell is this, a crack house, dude? And a flop house?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Who knows? Okay.
But, as we talked about before, we have a little bit of a different episode planned out for you here. Because of the orange zones, the city's kind of shut down. And the last few times we've been kind of talking about takeout places. But we decided that we're going to kind of look at the suburbs a little bit. We're both suburban kids. Well, you're kind of out for the country. And so this week, before we all came down, before I wasn't being irresponsible, before we all came down with COVID, we had gone out a lot of places. And anybody that knows me knows that my wife and I, we decided, you know what, we're going to hang out in Fairport because we really like Mulconry's. Well,
I have been there. I like it there.
Yeah, unfortunately,
my friend Angel goes all the time.
Unfortunately, I think my wife and I are really bad luck. We're here in Park Avenue district, and everything gets shut down. Then we go to Mulconry's. We had a ball there. I love the place. It's set up perfectly. The food is good. The food is good there. It's an Irish bar. But we go there on Sunday afternoon. My daughter can't get into the skating rink there because it's full of capacity. So we're like, let's just go eat at Mulconry's a little later. So we sit in the dining room right in front of the fireplace. Unfortunately, later on that night, the fireplace caught the place on fire. Damien Mulconry, our hearts go out to you for all the damage that's been done to the restaurant. You're going to make it back. And this is a really hard time for everyone.
It really is. 2020 truly has been testing everyone.
Yeah.
I have 3 friends, ironically, who all do eyelash extensions. This is a new big trend now. And they saved their money from the unemployment, and then they invested in getting themselves their own salon and trying to, rebuild back businesses. And they're all, sadly enough, closing them out right now. And not making it. And so it's the lash barista, my friend in Rochester, Mandy Lash Teak. And then Brittany out in West Seneca, I was like, this is horrible.
Yeah, but luckily
And the restaurants, and some aren't even reopening. They say they won't make it, and we really didn't get probably to the worst of it yet. I'm sure we're having more shutdowns.
Well, luckily now we're going to have it looks like there's going to be a much more coordinated response because it's going to be left to the CDC and to some of the states to really, really start to work on this vaccine. So
yeah.
It looks like it's too late for you and I, Katrina. So,
right.
Yeah.
I know this. I'm like, oh well, at least I don't have to worry too much about getting it now. Before I was like real paranoid, and now I'm like,
Well, that's not the right way to look at it. I mean, luckily we're both still pretty okay. I mean, my daughter has it, but her symptoms weren't bad at all. Now she's upstairs, on her Xbox, screaming, jumping around, going, "Why do I have to stay in my room?" I'm like, "'Cause you have played." No, I was kidding.
Exactly. You Lysol her door over and over, keep her in.
Yeah. She tried to run downstairs without a mask on and open up the fridge. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, that was the thing. I'm getting people yelling at me that I need to be taking care of my parents, and I'm like, I don't want to get COVID, and then all of a sudden I start feeling sick, and I'm like, damn it.
I know. Well, honestly, we all live on top of each other, no matter if our house is large or not,
Yep.
And so that's the problem. That's why people have to be very, very careful.
You can attack your whole family at a holiday gathering.
Yeah, I know. There goes our
One
Christmas.
person.
Exactly.
Ours is done basically. Their quarantine's like the 24th it ends. So,
yeah.
And that's pushing it where, I don't know. So other people can invite me.
But folks, it's better to be safe. Don't invite us. Now, the other thing is after Mulconry's burned down, we needed a new place to go. And unfortunately, last week, my dog had accidentally eaten a prescription, and she was in the ICU. It was over on White Spruce, which is, Henrietta Road there, right across from MCC here in Rochester. So we were like, we need a drink. Layla's fine. She made it through. She's her old, obnoxious self again, very huggy, cuddly, won't get off yet. But so we decided to go to Delmonico's. And let me tell you something. I had forgotten about Delmonico's. It's somewhat of a chain. It's in Utica, I believe Albany, Rochester, Syracuse, could be a couple other places. But I was very impressed by Delmonico's. Let's just say it puts Fridays to shame. So we would kind of go to happy hour there once in a while. Not anymore. But so we went there, and their happy hour, they have this $6 martinis, folks. And I have this pet peeve that creamsicle martinis, chocolate martinis, coffee martinis. They're really not martinis. You know what I mean? But because they're in a martini glass, they're chilled. We'll call them martinis. And they make some really good ones there.
They like dessert martinis, though. I love martinis. I love them so much. But I don't like a dirty martini. I like the girly, fruity ones. Yeah. The creamsicle one, like you said. Not the chocolate one too much, but sour apple.
Oh, I heard
and
the sour apple.
Throw in a little swig, or even the candy apple ones with the caramel, and they drizzle it up and down the glass, and a cinnamon stick.
That's the thing, we're not huge dessert people. What we usually get for dessert is one of those kind of girly martinis. And we love the espresso martinis at Delmonico's. But let me tell you something. Usually when you get a happy hour menu, like menu specials, it's not so great. That is not the case at Delmonico's. Let me tell you something about their filet sandwich there. Oh my God, I've had it twice now, in a week. And it is so good with provolone and then just some mushrooms on it because they do the filet really well there. I was very impressed for kind of a chain place. And then they have these. Then we have this shrimp cocktail. It's literally one shrimp, but it's a gigantic shrimp. It's like a U12. You know what I mean? It's like half a lobster tail, and it's got a really, really spicy cocktail sauce that goes really, really well with it. So I'm telling you right now, it gets my stamp of approval. I like happy hour at Delmonico's. And I was looking around at the food, looking at people's food. It's because it's their job. And I'm like, it looks really good there. I'd eaten there before when I was at SU doing my PhD, and it was good then. And it's still really good. So discovering stuff again in the suburbs, because let's face it, most of your highfalutin restaurants or places that really get all the hype, most of them are in the city, or just outside of the city, like Grinnell's, So we don't really look at a lot of the suburbs. So you had an idea. What was your idea for tonight, Christina?
Well, I was thinking hometown. Then I realized that my hometown's really lame. It'll take a little bit, and then yours is probably way more exciting. And then I went out because I live in East Aurora. My parents are out here. I actually stay somewhere else, and I travel all around.
Yeah.
But I'm from Holland, which is like 15 minutes away, and they're a yellow zone. So I've been going out there a lot and seeing like childhood friends who never moved out and kind of died out there, which is depressing. You know how that is in small towns. And so there's a couple restaurants, and it just kind of reminded me of why I moved out.
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you this. You know, a lot of my friends that I went to college with or know, they're like, Hughes, why don't you leave Rochester? And I'm like, let me tell you something. You know, Rochester is like the metro area here. It's like 1.1 million people. It's like the smallest town half the world has never heard of. You know, it's larger than I believe larger than New Orleans. So I mean, it's like you don't even really look at it like that. But there's a lot of stuff going on here. And my hometown, where I am from, even though I live on Park Avenue now, and I lived for years. I am from Greece, New York. Yes, that's right. That's why I'm loud and obnoxious. But, you know, I was going back and I was thinking about all the places in Greece, because Greece has got a population of like 200,000 people. So it's like a city unto itself. And maybe it's 100. I have to look it up here. But Greece is an enormous place, you know, and it's really kind of like there's people in Greece that just don't leave Greece because it's so large compared to a town. I do know it's the largest town in America, and so I got this whole list here. So I guess I'm going to be doing a lot of the show. So you know, I've talked about a few of these places before, but I really wanted to talk about them again. So the first one is Oren's, which is a cafe. And it's in the country village. It's on the corner of Maiden Lane and Long Pond. It's actually where I grew up, and that used to be like just like a kind of a lot. There was a funeral home there, Arntz, that I grew up with. But I like Oren's a lot, especially for their gelato. These guys kick it. They make their own gelato, and their gelato is delicious. I especially like their mango gelato. I talked to him before. He's like, I don't use any fillers, any kind of stabilizers. Basically, if I'm making a fruit gelato, it's fruit and, you know, sugar and water. And if I'm making, you know, a sweet gelato, it's just cream, you know, the ingredients that go in, and sugar. That's it, you know. I mean, or milk, you know. So it's like, and really, their gelatos are very, very, very good there. And I would suggest going there. I think that the portions are done, you know, perfectly there, and it's a good place. It's always jammed on a summer night too, so it's kind of the kind of thing. Now the other one that's in Greece, it's a mainstay there. It's been there for years and years and years. And if you're not from Greece, you're probably not going to even know it's there. And it's kind of a little bit of a fine dining kind of high end restaurant. It's a Lamplighter, and it's actually right down from my barber from Rivera's. By the way, Marissa Rivera, the best barber in town, according to me. My son will go nowhere else. And so, and you know, the Lamplighter, it's been there for probably, I'm going to say 42, 43 years.
I graduated across the street in 1977, and it was there a while before that.
Yeah, so maybe even 50 years.
Yeah.
Well, see, Gary, I didn't know you went to Olympia.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Nice. See, I'm from Athena district there, man. You know, I'm Northwood and proud.
Yep.
My wife is the what is that? What's the old neighborhood called there? Larkin's Crossing.
Right. But the food's good there, though, right?
It's fantastic. It's been there for years. You know, I think the first time I ever had jambalaya, I had it in the Lamplighter. And you know, it kind of changed my whole perspective on food in a lot of ways as we were going through the mid 80s into the 90s when everything was Cajun, you know what I mean? So the next one is really, you know, unfortunately he's passed away, but this is really a Greece kind of fixture. You know, they moved around a little bit down Ridge Road and then into the plaza there by a Walmart. That's Red Fideli's Brook House, you know. What they're so famous for is you know, their gnocchi, and you know, we've done so many holidays there that, you know, it's, hey Katrina, are you by your fish tank again?
No, no.
Okay.
I've seen a dog.
Oh, sorry. But okay, so let's talk about then. I got a friend who does driveways, and he goes to lunch a lot. And his favorite special is a sushi steak and sushi place that's up on Ridge Road as well. It's amazing that right around Grease Ridge Center there has to be 6 steak and sushi hibachi places. And his favorite is Sumo, and it's kind of across the street in that little plaza there. And they really do. They have very, very good firecracker.
I've been there.
Yeah, firecracker tuna rolls or the firecracker shrimp rolls. I can't remember which one it is, but it's pretty good. They have a special. It's like $11, and you get like 2 rolls. I mean, who's beating that? Mm-hmm. Now the next one, I haven't actually been here, but a friend of mine that I coach rugby with swears by this Mexican place called Los Gallos. And now it's probably been there for 12, 15 years. And if you're there for that long, you got to be pretty good.
Yeah.
And you know, I have to check it out. I'm kind of partial to a lot of Mexican because I taught at Western Michigan University, and they have all the salary fields up there just north of Kalamazoo. So there's a lot of migrant workers. And so, like, you would go to some of the places there, you have to speak Spanish to order the food, especially this place, La Marqueta Mexicana. And but I got to go check it out because, you know, I got to compare it to some of my other good favorites. You know, Maria's out in Webster, and my absolute favorite is always Real Tomatlan in Canandaigua. So we'll have to see. Hey, look at that! Two more places in the suburbs, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, Ed, I'm just trying to kind of move down Ridge Road, then we'll shoot up a Long Pond Road, and then we'll go over to what I consider part of Greece. It was until the 1950s. And, you know, Gary, you're an old hat there, too. Charlotte. But,
Yep.
So you have to mention the mall. And I got to say, I don't really eat at the mall, but the one place I always eat, I'm addicted to, is Auntie Anne's. I don't care what you got to say. I don't care about any of the highfalutin food
The
or
pretzels?
Yeah, the pretzels, man.
Yeah.
I love that place. That fake cheese, so salty, so good. But, you know, just moving now away from like Ridge Road and the mall and places like that, you shoot up into basically the place it's called North Greece. And there's a few kind of fixtures that have been there forever. And the first one is Ricky's, which is at a corner of on the corner of Latta Road and Long Pond. I'm right across Latta from the Wegmans there. Now, I've known Elaine Tassione, who's one of the owners of Ricky Tassione, who died unfortunately, all my life because she was my next door neighbor when I lived in Greece originally, and you know, they have been there now when they took over that old bank, which was basically out in the middle of nowhere before they built all of those tracks around there. For it has to be now since I was about 10. So I'm not going to date myself. It's been there about 38, 40 years. Not good dating myself like Gary.
Yeah.
But, you know, Ricky's is really famous for a couple things. One of the things they're famous for is their tripe. Now, I know tripe is something that not a lot of people go for, but, you know, it's a matter of pride amongst the Italian American community. You know what I mean? And is that your poppy?
Katrina's probably eating.
We're in a quarantine edition. I'm waiting for Layla to come down and look at her snack drawer and go, pop, pop, pop.
Hey, Dave, I got a question. A
Yeah.
question about Ricky's. Is the deli owned by the same people that's next door?
No, it's not.
That's a tremendous deli, and I was wondering if it was,
yeah. And you know, it's a tremendous deli, and it used to be, I can't remember, they're kind of an association with each other, but it's a fantastic deli. Mm-hmm. It's a very, very, very good deli, and that stretch of Long Pond Road has some of the best lunch and the kind of deli sandwich places you're going to get. Ricky's, when I go to Ricky's there at a deli, my favorite thing to get there is a prosciutto sub with some fresh mozzarella, some bocconcino, and it's really good. And, you know, they do a lot of good things. That little block there, and then going just a little bit south down to actually, which was an old convenient market that is now Dell's, owned by my friend Ryan Dell, has got the best deal in steak subs I've ever had. Their steak subs are delicious. If you order a large, it's like $12. You can feed a family of 4. So, yeah, Dell's is really good. It's a Grease fixture for lunch, which is really good. So if you're looking for lunch and you're going down Long Pond Road, you hit English and Long Pond. Dell's is right there. You go in, you can't beat it. Their food is very, very good. You go up another mile and a half, and you hit Ricky's, same side of the street. You know, I don't Ricky for you got to go around the plaza for the deli. It's Ricky's Deli, and then Ricky's restaurant opens up, I believe, at about 3:30 or 4. It's a big kind of blue hair early bird special place.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they've been they've been there for years, so you never miss it. So as you're going down the road, then down Long Pond Road up towards Charlotte, you're going to hit a couple plazas, and I just want to go over some of the places in the plazas. Especially a shout out to my friend Eric, who owns the Retreat. Now, Eric, I've heard some complaints from people out in Greece. I don't know because they haven't really gone there. That Eric is kind of, shall we say, firm, very, very firm about his COVID policy. And I'm like, more power to him. He doesn't want anybody to get sick, and he doesn't want to get shut down. And I've heard from a lot of people that they should give the Retreat a lot of credit for how they've handled the COVID restrictions because they've done it very, very, very well. And it's kind of a fixture in that whole area there next to the Long Pond Pub. I actually worked there when it was at the Garage Door 2 for a little while. It was my first bartending job, and I thought that was going to be like my savior in life to become a bartender. Now you go down the street though from that plaza, and the next plaza up is a place with one of my favorite corned beefs in Rochester, corned beef hashes, and that is a Long Pond family. Is a restaurant or diner? I think it's a Long Pond family restaurant. And if you're ever up there and go there, get their corned beef hash. It's homemade. It is delicious. It is absolutely so good, so good. And as you go down further, if you go down Dewey, you're gonna hit the Parkway Diner too, which is at Ling Road, which is a few roads over past Dewey and stuff. And that's a really good diner down there.
It's a good Greek breakfast place.
Yeah, they're both great Greek breakfast places. That's why, so Gary, you're from that side of town, man.
I've been around.
You got
Katrina,
any shout outs for it?
Katrina probably doesn't remember being at the Retreat before, but we ordered food.
No, I was at the Retreat.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, absolutely. It's where Eric is a gigantic heavy metal fan. I mean, in my opinion, not the right heavy metal, but he likes to Kiss and loves cherry pie and stuff, but not like Slayer and Sabbath. But no, I mean, from what I've heard, and they're very nice people there, very, very nice people. And his wife Danielle is a wonderful person. Danielle's mom for years was a fixture around who died. Lucille, and it's a great place up there. So as you head down, then you're headed into Charlotte, folks. And the first thing that you're going to hit is you hit the end of Long Pond Road, and you start going along the beautiful ponds there, Bucks Pond, Round Pond, is you're going to hit the original Shalers. In my opinion, there can be an argument, but no offense to Don and Bob's, no offense to to Nick Tahoe's, I think it's the best burger joint in Rochester. I really do. I mean, I've always been a huge fan of Shalers, and so the original Shalers there at Beatty Beach is right there. And that's always been there. And years ago, Gary, it was probably what was across the street from there?
I just saw.
Island Cottage?
Yes, the Island Cottage Hotel where they used to have bands and stuff there. Yeah, but it was there too.
Yeah, would it burn down? I mean, so I guess you're bad luck too.
Yeah, it must be.
But then you're headed into Charlotte. Of course, when you hit Charlotte, the fixture of all restaurants in Charlotte is Mr. Dominic's. And Mr. Dominic's is the kind of place that they're always going to be very good. There's always this argument in Utica between a couple of places in Utica and Mr. Dominic's to who invented chicken French. And we'll never know. But I've been getting the same thing, Katrina and Gary, at Mr. Dominic's for probably 40 years. Every time I go there. I
do that in a lot of restaurants. I'm repetitive. If I like it, I always get it. And I feel every time I switch it, then I get disappointed with my meal.
Absolutely. And so when I go there, I always get my appetizer is always sauteed portobellos with escargot. I love it. I know some people hate escargot. That's their loss. It's like if they don't eat tripe, My family can't even sit at a table with me sometimes when I'm like eating escargot or eating tripe. But then I get their veal saltimbocca, which here in Upstate we do a very different saltimbocca than the rest of the world. Basically, it's more of a Southern Italian because usually saltimbocca is with sage and provolone cheese and a white wine. But here when you get saltimbocca, it's a red wine based sauce and it's olives that really carry it forward. And it's on the escarole. And Mr. Dominic's, their salted vodka is always going to be fantastic. So, but you go into Charlotte, you get a couple other places. You have Windjammer.
I like lobster French at the Charlotte Tavern. It's amazing.
Yeah, the Charlotte Tavern's right there too.
And then with our pizza, John's been our show a couple of times and stuff, so he's great. And we got some pictures on there. But I definitely lobster French is just amazing.
It is.
So I don't really see it on a lot of options on menus. So.
Oh, absolutely. And as I said, then they got Windjammers there too, and their wings have won Best Wings in Rochester several times. And I can take a little credit for their wings winning Best Wings in Rochester because they use a rub from Sweet's Carol Swine barbecue. It's my friend Mike Spuck, and I used to be a partner with him, and that was Mike's recipe, and then I figured out how to produce it. I was pushing the hot sauce that he also produces, which is delicious. I created called Happy Hot Sauce. But Mike had this decision that he was going to go with a lot of fruit rubs. And, of course, maybe that's why I'm doing radio now. I don't make the best business decisions. And I was like, I don't really want to go in that direction. Now Mike's blowing up with all his different fruit rubs. But, so that's my little tour of Greece. There's a couple other, mentions. Guy Tunnel's Bakery up on Westridge Road, too. Their desserts especially are delicious.
Yeah, I like that. And the California Brew House Wednesday night dinners. Like everything you can order. And you get to see an interesting crew of people there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's very, very interesting. Yeah. Definitely.
Great.
Dickie will make you filet and give you a huge potato, all this stuff with lobster and everything.
It was great.
Yeah, absolutely. And shout out to my friend Julie Bean, who's a bartender there.
Julie, I love Julie. And then also that's at Billy's for their wing nights. They have those prime dinner lobster specials. That's pretty good too.
Absolutely.
We are going to cut into a quick song break, and then we'll talk about Holland a little bit, and then hopefully catch the produce of the month or week.
All right. Brought to you by Tony D's.
Hey, welcome back to Upstate Eats. We are supported by Tony D's, located at 288 Exchange Boulevard in Rochester, and they're TonyD's.net, so you can check out their menu and understand who we're talking about shows. But I am Katrina Lee, and I want to tell you a little bit about my hometown. So there's nowhere near as many options at all that, at all compared to yours. So there is 4 restaurants. One is the Holland Willows, and I had the cheeseburger wrap, French onion soup. Typical, nothing impressive, basic stuff you could get anywhere. Clean. They have a small bowling alley. When I was captain of the bowling team, in like 7th, we bowled there, and we used to sneak alcohol and stuff at the bowling alley, but. So
I was at Private Institute that's got one of the most dominant bowling teams in the country.
Yeah.
Go ahead. That's right.
So then that was kind of neat. They did remodel it since I lived out there, and now I guess they have all the baby showers and weddings. The only nice technical sort of restaurant in Holland. I went to another one called the Zider Z. It's at the end, and it's got like a windmill outside. That's like a cheap family style breakfast if you want. I went to the Valley, which is going in. There I had just basic stuff. Hot pepper soup was pretty good. French dip and chicken wings.
How was the French dip? I mean, because
this is okay. These are like not really fancy gourmet, and they're not huge like portions like Southern style or anything neat. They're just
Yeah, no, that's good.
There. Though. And then the Holland Hotel. They were closing when I got there for food, but I have ate there before, and it's nice. And they did remodel, and this, I guess, more modern, younger crowd goes now in town. So the rest of them.
You're past modern farmer.
Yeah, you want to watch how you dress because you're gonna stand out. Like everyone's wearing camo, they're all just dirty from work.
Yeah.
You don't want to like dress nice or you'll look like an outsider. And then they have that thing now because they're yellow zone and you can eat there. They're getting a lot of people from out of town checking them out finally.
Yeah.
And going out there, so they're like, right away are assuming. I grew up there, but I realized, so Holland, what is it known for, I was thinking about? Well, they do have the Holland Tulip Festival once a year, and it's like a small little parade carnival thing. They have a handful of little rides in the town, and it's a big deal back then and right before Mother's Day.
Well,
With the little craft fair for there, that was big, and yeah.
There's something to be said about the little town festivals. Like my family, we love the festival in Pumpkin Hook. And if you don't know where the hell Pumpkin Hook is, they actually have T-shirts for their festival there called "Where in the hell is Pumpkin Hook?" It's literally part of Farmington. It's like in between Farmington and Fairport.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. A lot of those little things are fun,
Yeah, I like all the small towns always have some apple festival or something that, they say they're known for. So they have the Holland Tulip Festival. The town has one stoplight.
Wow.
So it's pretty small. The school's so small now that since I went there, they closed the middle school up. And they combined it with the high school and the elementary school.
Okay. So everybody's in the same room?
Basically. It's like shriveled, and when I graduated, there's only 80 people in the class. It's actually gotten worse.
Oh.
There's a basic little pharmacy with your cheap little Love of Pete style knicky-knack gifts. A couple antique stores. And a Dollar General.
Oh, there's Dollar General. There's Dollar General in every little hamlet.
yeah, that's new. So there's the Dollar General. That's where everyone gets their gifts and shopping, I guess, done.
Everybody hangs out. You know what, though? I'm gonna jump in here because people don't know this. I'm a history professor, and the town of Holland, New York, has a very, very auspicious name because it's named after the Holland Purchase, and it actually has international an international je ne sais quoi about it. So what happened was, originally you had the Phelps-Gorham Purchase, which was upstate New York. It was bought from the state of Massachusetts by Phelps and Gorham. It had originally been Iroquois land, right? I mean, after the Revolution. And so it's bought by Phelps and Gorham, and they go bankrupt. So, by the way, all you Yankees and Mets fans out there, I'm a Red Sox fan. Yeah, where you live was originally Massachusetts. Anyway, so what happened was then Arthur J. Cazenove, as of Cazenovia, got together all of these Dutch financiers and all these Dutch investors because Napoleon had just conquered most of Europe and they needed to find a place to keep their wealth. And so they bought upstate New York, basically, and that's where the town Holland gets its name.
Yeah, I believe we don't have any cool historical museum or anything in town, but I guess the closest is Batavia, and it's part of the Holland Land Company, and you could go inside it. And then they have the War Garden of 1812.
Yep, absolutely. It's right along Tonawanda Creek there in Batavia, right?
Yeah. So you can go check that stuff out. But like I said, Holland, there's nothing worth going out there to look for history-wise. There's not a museum.
Yeah.
Well, they're known for Gutelberg Cemetery, which was one of the most haunted cemeteries all around. Like my friend actually lived there, and we used to scare people for fun because they would sit out there looking for the ghosts and stuff. It was a great time, and then too many people start cracking down, so they had to block it and have police try stopping all these idiots. So
yeah. Well, our local cemetery here, Mount Hope, people go for picnics in it because it's so beautiful. So
right. And then so what else? Small town, nice people. You don't have to lock your doors. Changes since I've been there. It kind of opened up more Section 8 housing. It's out in the outskirts, and it's cheap to live there because there's not really jobs. Yeah. So it's kind of shifting, and sadly enough, a bunch of my friends just never moved on, and they're like in the same houses, all on the same street from like school.
Hey, I never judge anybody because some people are happy where they live. I mean, I have friends that just never leave Greece, and because there's everything they need in Greece, I'm
sorry, I should have said in their parents' homes.
Yeah. That's a little bit different.
Katrina, are you like the most famous person to come from there?
My friend John says I'm just like the most famous person.
You're like Chuck Mangione of Holland, New York.
I know. There's no one. I'm like the most advanced. Like, I mean, education, all this stuff. There's like no one going anywhere. I was a big nerd and I was picked on like crazy. So I was supposed to have my 20-year high school reunion. It was supposed to be this year. And so they delayed it and canceled it. And I was actually looking forward to it this year, and I was going to go because I'm like, I look pretty good. I got radio shows. I'm on TV. I'm in movies. I'm like, okay. And I was looking at their profiles to make sure I looked kind of better.
kind of like Michelle and Romy's high school reunion. Yeah.
I was like preparing myself for it. So then, yeah. So what else in hell? Yeah, that's about it. All the stuff from when I was younger closed. They do have a liquor store. I think the whole town would be disarray. And they do have a church which is cleaned up as act. But when I was there, we had 2 rapey priests and a religion teacher molester. So.
Oh, yeah.
This is clean and good now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Don't worry. I went to St. John's. I went to St. John's in Greece, so it was. I didn't go to. Yeah, no, exactly. But let's offend everybody out there, folks. And we haven't offended yet.
No, my friends know. They all laugh about it. We admit it. We used to have nothing to do. We'd play hide and go seek in the barns and dare each other to kiss cows and stuff.
But you know what? It is what it is. Hey, guess what? My mother's calling me.
Right? Oh, you know what? Speaking of that now, what you might know, because this is Upstate Travels also, about Holland, is that there's a Tree Valley campground. So a lot of people from the outskirts have been there for it. And in front of it, they have peacocks, a cage with peacocks in them. So when you're younger, your parents take you all the time to look at the peacocks. That's a big deal.
Yeah. So that's just great. That's just great. So now that's the other thing you do is look at the peacocks. Okay, let's get back to food.
So what is the produce in season?
Well, I wanted to do one more review, actually, because there was another thing. As I said, we were hanging out in Fairport. I went to Lulu Taqueria there. First of all, the guy that owns Lulu Taqueria is one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. He is the nicest guy. And I went there and I got their pozole. So I'm a big fan of pozole. And his pozole is unlike any other pozole I've ever had. It's a green pozole, but it's a really, really kind of rich. It almost tastes, it's supposed to be a pork broth. It almost tastes like a chicken broth. And because he puts cotija cheese on it and you mix it in, it almost tastes like pastino a little bit, like a Mexican version of pastino soup. And it was snowing out and freezing, so I really liked it. And but I think the best part about the place is his homemade hot sauces. So he's got one that is it's a habanero, and it's an orange one. I believe it's mixed with a little bit of mango. And it's not super spicy, but it's really, really good. And then he's got another one made out of my favorite chili pepper. And it's almost just like a paste. It's like a thick paste. And it's made out of chili arbol. And it reminds me a lot of actually like a Korean like chili paste. And it's got quite a dang hot kick to it. But it tastes so good. That's why I'm a huge fan of chili arbol. I think it's the most flavorful of all the chilies. And so I would say, Lulu's it's pretty good. I had a good lunch there. But, we're going seasonally here now. You're not going to get anything grown in upstate New York anymore. Okay? That's the thing. And, as we go around, you're still going to have a ton of apples. There's a ton of squash still out there. And as we talked about before, is when Gary asked, what were the old ladies looking at the side of the road? The cardoons are still in. I got to make these cardoons. I'm just looking at my cardoons and now they're turning black. And sometimes I don't make enough stuff. But, in season, you're going to get a lot of stuff now that starts coming in from Florida and from California, the San Joaquin Valley, and from Mexico. So we're going to start to get a bunch of the flip-overs. Now, as I said, I'm going to be trying out, if I'm not completely bedridden and dying, I'm going to be making a tarte tatin this weekend, which is a very much a kind of an alternative to an apple pie, really. And it's really simple to make. All you do is you can make your own puff pastry if you're a French chef and you got a staff of 16, or what you do is just get a puff pastry, a frozen one, and you roll it out and you pre-bake it a little bit to let it rise a little bit, and then it's just apples, sugar, a little bit of cinnamon, and I like to take the sugar and caramelize it. And what's just really easy, you just slice your apples and you can make a cool little pattern with them, and then you pop it back in, you bake it down, and you got yourself a tarte tatin. I'll probably post a recipe for that, but It's a good one to be doing. I actually picked up some pears at Tops the other day. They were really, really good. I'm not gonna lie.
You know, I got Satsuma oranges. Just came in Wegmans too. I haven't seen them in a while. They were amazing. It's one of my favorite scents from the Body Shop too.
Yeah, and what's coming in, right? It's gonna be coming in pretty soon. Are the Cara oranges, and those are my favorite.
I don't think I've tried that one.
So they're like they're a lighter flesh. They're almost like kind of pink inside, and they're almost like a cross between an orange and like a mandarin. You know what I'm talking about? And they are absolutely so delicious. I know that the price rate on University Avenue usually bring them in. You see them a lot in markets for like Latin markets and things like that, the Caracaras, and they're so absolutely delicious. They're a really good thing to get. But believe it or not, what's about to happen is we're moving in this time of year, and shellfish, as we know, has been very, very, very cheap. For this time of year, cheaper than steak and whatever, except for crab. We're about to get into shrimp season, really, where shrimp really are in the market. They're very high quality, and they're very, very reasonably priced. So that's people should really take advantage of the seasons and the market stuff. Plus this season, if you're a hunter, I didn't go out this year. Gary, you gonna bring me some?
I didn't go out very much either, so that didn't happen. No. Give it up for this year.
Yeah, well, my friend James, he was up in the mountains. He shot a deer. He's going to bring it to me. I'm going to be making one of my favorite recipes. I'll be bringing it to you guys.
I didn't get any either for you. I usually hit one with my car at least once a year, but I failed this year. I didn't drive.
I hit two, so I hit them. I just didn't bother picking them up.
Oh, well, dude, you guys got the greatest hunting form. What'd you use to bag that one? Well, you go to the junkyard and check that one out, the one to bagger. But one of my favorite things to do with deer is to make venison vindaloo. And it was interesting because, years ago people would be like, what the hell are you talking about, venison vindaloo? And I was going through these like some hunting sites just looking at some venison recipes. And like, everybody's making venison vindaloo now. I'm like, that's really interesting. It's like, everybody eats fun now.
Well, we got about 2 minutes here, guys, before it's going to automate us out of this.
Okay.
Well, we don't really have to, because Oz hasn't showed up yet. But don't cut it short. Don't cut it short. Yeah, I didn't know what I was thinking. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but yeah. So the weather we're getting right now. Actually, a shout out to our sponsor, Jay Speranza. He's got some soup specials going on, and I gotta say, you gotta hit him. I guess he's not calling it Italian wedding because he doesn't have any pasta in it. But he's got an awesome chicken soup there. It's a chicken soup with, greens and meatballs that I've had like twice now. That is so fantastic. I just keep on going back there going, give me some more soup.
Right. So don't forget, everyone, to check us out. We are Upstate Eats. We are Upstate Brews. And we are Upstate Travels on Facebook. I'm Katrina Lee, or Katrina Lely.
And I'm Dave Hughes.
And it's Dave, and we are on every Thursday from 8 o'clock till 9. You're listening to WRFCLP Rochester Free Radio 106.3.
All right. See you, folks.